Welcome, dear friends and fellow lovers of stories that stir both the mind and the heart. If you're someone who delights in the layers beneath the surface, who finds joy in peeling back the many folds of a narrative to reveal its hidden meanings and cultural echoes, then you're exactly in the right place. Here on Frame Shift, we dive deep, not just into what a film shows us, but into what it whispers, hints at, and sometimes boldly proclaims through its symbols, characters, and cinematic language. If you enjoy these journeys as much as I do, please consider liking and subscribing, not out of obligation, but because there's a whole world of films waiting to be explored, understood, and cherished together. Before we embark, a little clarity. This is not your average movie review. Instead, think of this as a thoughtful, theoretical, and deeply intellectual exploration designed for those with a literary sensibility, those who appreciate film as a richly woven text, layered with history, symbolism, and philosophical undertones. Our purpose here is education and insight, an invitation to view cinema through a lens that honors both craft and meaning. Our story begins with a film that sparked my fascination for the way popular cinema can dance with history and myth, weaving them into a thrilling tapestry of adventure and discovery. It's a film that, on the surface, is a rollicking treasure hunt, filled with cryptic clues, secret societies, and high-stakes chases. Yet beneath that exhilarating veneer lies a meditation on legacy, patriotism, and the complex relationship between myth and reality. Watching it, I found myself reflecting on how stories shape our understanding of history and identity, how the past is never just behind us, but continuously alive in the narratives we tell and retell. The film introduces us to a protagonist whose passion for history is deeply personal. He's not a scholar cloistered in dusty libraries, but a seeker and a dreamer, someone whose family legacy and own convictions propel him on a quest that blurs the lines between fact and legend. His journey unfolds against the backdrop of iconic American landmarks, reimagined as repositories of secret knowledge and hidden truths. This blending of real and fantastic places invites us to reconsider our own world as a landscape rich with stories waiting to be uncovered. The plot accelerates swiftly as the protagonist uncovers a map hidden in plain sight, a puzzle that promises the discovery of a priceless treasure with ties to the founding of a nation. What follows is a series of clever riddles, dangerous alliances, and thrilling escapes. The narrative is both cerebral and kinetic, demanding engagement on multiple levels, from decoding historical references to feeling the pulse of chase sequences that keep adrenaline high. Alongside allies and adversaries alike, the protagonist navigates a maze of secrets, where every step forward is shadowed by risk and revelation. The film's major twists are as much about character revelations as about plot mechanics. Loyalties shift, hidden motivations surface, and the meaning of treasure itself is questioned. Is it merely gold and jewels, or something far more profound, knowledge, legacy, or the very ideals upon which a nation was built? These questions elevate the narrative beyond a simple heist, turning it into a reflection on the stories we inherit and the truths we choose to seek. Visually, the film is a vibrant blend of historical grandeur and contemporary energy. The cinematography captures sweeping vistas of monuments and cityscapes, contrasting them with intimate, detail-rich shots of artifacts and codes. This interplay mirrors the narrative's tension between public history and hidden knowledge, inviting viewers to look closer at the familiar. As we continue, we'll delve into the layers that make this film a rich text for intellectual exploration, from its character dynamics and thematic depth to its clever use of symbolism and visual storytelling. Together, we'll unravel how it crafts a narrative that thrills and challenges, entertains and enlightens, reminding us that every legend is rooted in the human desire to connect past and present. Thank you for joining me on this journey. Let's now step beyond the surface and begin our exploration of this cinematic treasure. The story unfolds with a pulse that is both steady and electric, inviting us into a world where history and myth intertwine beneath the familiar facades of monuments and archives. We first meet our protagonist, a man whose very name evokes curiosity and determination, a treasure hunter, historian, and seeker of secrets. His life is defined by the thrill of discovery and the weight of legacy, a legacy that stretches back generations and ties him inexorably to the mysteries he pursues. From the outset, there is a palpable tension between his love for uncovering truths and the shadows cast by those who would exploit or obscure them. The narrative ignites when our protagonist encounters a puzzling clue hidden in plain sight, something as mundane and overlooked as a series of symbols etched into a historic document, yet charged with meaning for those who know where to look. This initial discovery is emblematic of the film's larger motif, the hidden stories beneath the surface of history, the codes embedded in monuments and texts that whisper of secrets lost and found. The excitement here is intellectual as much as it is adventurous. It invites the audience to think, decode, and piece together a puzzle that spans centuries. As he begins to unravel this cryptic message, we are introduced to a supporting cast who play pivotal roles in this unfolding drama. Among them is a historian, brilliant, analytical, and often skeptical, who serves as both a partner and a foil. Their dynamic oscillates between trust and tension, underscoring the challenges inherent in balancing faith and evidence, intuition and reason. The chemistry between these characters lends the narrative emotional texture, reminding us that quests for truth are as much about human connection as about the artifacts uncovered. The antagonist emerges as a shadowy figure with his own designs on the treasure. Unlike the protagonist, whose pursuit is motivated by legacy and curiosity, the antagonist embodies greed and power, willing to manipulate, deceive, and destroy to claim what he sees as rightfully his. This conflict is not merely personal but symbolic, a clash between different visions of history and ownership, between stewardship and exploitation. The film deftly paints this opposition with shades of gray, avoiding caricature and inviting reflection on the complexities of morality and ambition. Key plot developments unfold with a rhythm that balances revelation and suspense. The protagonist follows a trail of clues woven into historical landmarks: the Independence Hall, the National Archives, the Liberty Bell, each location a character in its own right, rich with symbolism and layered meaning. These settings serve as stages for intellectual and physical challenges, from decoding ciphers hidden in architectural details to evading the antagonist's henchmen. The pacing here is taut yet measured, allowing moments of tension to breathe alongside intricate puzzle solving. One memorable sequence involves a race through the labyrinthine corridors of a museum, where artifacts seem to watch silently as alliances shift and dangers close in. This scene encapsulates the film's blend of cerebral engagement and kinetic energy, inviting viewers to share in the adrenaline rush while appreciating the historical resonance of the surroundings. The juxtaposition of ancient relics and modern conflict underscores the narrative's central tension between past and present. As the protagonist digs deeper, the stakes escalate. He uncovers not only clues to a lost treasure, but hints of a secret society, keepers of knowledge and guardians of history, whose motives are as enigmatic as the puzzles themselves. This element adds a layer of conspiracy and mystique, enriching the narrative's texture and thematic scope. The secret society's role introduces questions about who controls narratives and how history is preserved or altered. The film's use of flashbacks and archival footage weaves past and present, grounding the story in historical context while maintaining narrative momentum. These moments illuminate the origins of the treasure and the sacrifices made by previous generations, linking the protagonist's quest to a continuum of human endeavor and belief. This temporal layering invites viewers to consider history as a living dialogue rather than a static record. Interpersonal relationships deepen the plot's emotional resonance. The protagonist's connection with his father, a figure shrouded in mystery and history, serves as a poignant undercurrent. Their past, marked by absence and unresolved tension, informs his motivations and adds personal stakes to the quest. Moments of reflection reveal vulnerability beneath the protagonist's confident exterior, reminding us that his pursuit is as much about identity and belonging as about wealth or fame. Romantic tension also surfaces subtly, adding warmth and complexity. The growing bond between the protagonist and the historian evolves amid shared danger and discovery, their interactions blending intellectual challenge with emotional intimacy. This relationship humanizes the high-stakes narrative, grounding it in universal experiences of trust, doubt, and connection. The antagonist's machinations become increasingly bold, introducing twists that complicate the protagonist's path. Betrayals and shifting alliances heighten suspense, underscoring the precariousness of trust and the cost of obsession. The film avoids formulaic villainy, instead portraying adversaries as fully realized figures driven by fear, ambition, and belief. The first half culminates in a sequence that combines revelation with peril. The protagonist deciphers a crucial cipher that unlocks access to a hidden chamber, a symbolic gateway between past and present. This discovery is not merely physical but metaphorical, a threshold into deeper understanding and greater risk. The tension is palpable as forces converge, alliances are tested, and the true nature of the treasure begins to emerge. Throughout, the film balances intellectual engagement with emotional stakes, inviting viewers to partake in both the thrill of the chase and the contemplation of history's meaning. Its narrative is a tapestry woven from intrigue, heritage, and human complexity, each thread contributing to a richly textured whole. This opening segment sets the stage for a journey that is at once exhilarating and profound, a quest not only for treasure, but for truth, identity, and the stories that shape us. It beckons us to look closer, think deeper, and remember that beneath the surface of history lies a world waiting to be discovered anew. The narrative intensifies as our journey continues, drawing us deeper into a labyrinth of secrets, betrayals, and revelations that challenge not only the protagonist's intellect and courage, but also his very understanding of history and legacy. The stakes rise palpably. The treasure hunt evolves from a thrilling puzzle into a profound exploration of what it means to inherit a nation's stories, to claim ownership over the past, and to confront the consequences of those claims. Following the pivotal discovery of the hidden chamber and the crucial cipher, the protagonist finds himself propelled into a race against time and adversaries, whose resolve matches his own. The tension tightens with every step, as the trail leads to more enigmatic clues, cleverly concealed within symbols on the back of the Declaration of Independence, hidden compartments within the Library of Congress, and cryptic inscriptions embedded in the fabric of the nation's capital itself. These clues are more than mere puzzles. They are echoes of the founders' fears, hopes, and vision for the country's future. As the protagonist and his allies piece together these fragments, the antagonist's presence looms larger and more menacing. This rival is not content with mere acquisition of wealth, but is driven by a darker ambition, to reshape history according to his own vision, to wield the treasure as a means of power and control. The film's tension lies in this philosophical clash as much as the physical cat-and-mouse game, raising questions about the ownership of narratives and the ethics of legacy. The film skillfully builds suspense through a series of close calls and betrayals. An ally once thought trustworthy reveals hidden motives, adding layers of complexity to the web of relationships. These twists deepen the emotional stakes, forcing the protagonist to question not only his companions, but also the certainty of his own quest. The narrative deftly avoids simplistic good versus evil binaries, instead portraying the ambiguity inherent in history and human nature. A particularly memorable sequence unfolds within the bowels of a secret underground chamber beneath the city, a vast crypt filled with relics, documents, and artifacts that speak to the nation's founding myths and truths. The film's direction here is atmospheric and tense. Dim lighting casts long shadows, the air is thick with dust and mystery, and every step echoes the weight of history. The chamber becomes a symbolic heart of the narrative, a place where past and present collide. Within this space, the protagonist uncovers a revelation that challenges his understanding of the treasure itself. It is not merely gold or jewels, but something far more profound, a hidden codex, a message encoded in the founding documents that speaks to ideals of freedom, unity, and vigilance. This discovery reframes the quest as an engagement with values rather than material wealth, transforming the narrative into a meditation on national identity and responsibility. The film's climax centers on a tense confrontation where secrets are laid bare and choices made with lasting consequences. The protagonist and antagonist face off not only in physical conflict, but in ideological battle. Their duel is charged with symbolic meaning, each strike echoing broader themes of justice, legacy, and the power of stories to shape reality. Cinematography heightens this moment with tight close-ups that capture flickers of doubt and resolve, intercut with sweeping shots of the monumental surroundings, emphasizing the epic scale and intimate stakes. Parallel to this confrontation, supporting characters play critical roles in tipping the balance. Acts of bravery, sacrifice, and revelation intertwine to propel the narrative toward resolution. The film honors these moments with emotional depth, ensuring that each character's journey feels earned and meaningful. Resolution arrives with a blend of triumph and ambiguity. The treasure is secured, but the victory is tempered by loss and reflection. The protagonist emerges changed, not simply as a discoverer of hidden riches, but as a custodian of a living legacy, aware of the responsibilities and complexities it entails. The closing scenes evoke a sense of continuity, with images of national monuments bathed in dawn light, symbolizing hope and renewal amid the enduring challenges of history. The film concludes with an invitation to viewers to contemplate their own relationship to history and heritage. The final moments emphasize that the true treasure is not gold, but the collective memory and ideals that define a people. This thematic closure resonates deeply, elevating the adventure into a thoughtful reflection on identity, power, and the stories we choose to carry forward. Throughout the second half, the film balances action and introspection, spectacle and subtlety. The pacing allows tension to build without overwhelming, giving space for characters to evolve and themes to crystallize. Visual motifs, light and shadow, texture and scale, continue to enrich the narrative, underscoring emotional and philosophical currents. Sound and music play a crucial role in this crescendo. The score swells and recedes with narrative beats, blending traditional instruments with orchestral drama to heighten mood and underscore key moments. Ambient sounds from echoing footsteps in ancient chambers to the distant hum of a city awakening anchor scenes in place and atmosphere. Audience reactions to this portion often highlight its emotional weight and intellectual sophistication. Viewers appreciate the film's willingness to engage with complexity and ambiguity, offering a conclusion that satisfies narrative arcs while inviting ongoing reflection. Critically, the film is praised for its deft weaving of history and myth, action and ideas, personal and national stakes. Its climax and resolution are seen as a thoughtful culmination that honors both the thrill of adventure and the gravitas of legacy. In sum, this segment brings the narrative full circle, transforming a treasure hunt into a profound exploration of meaning and memory. It challenges viewers to consider not only what is hidden beneath the surface, but what stories and responsibilities lie waiting to be uncovered within us all. Within the intricate fabric of this story, the characters stand not as mere figures moving through a plot, but as richly textured beings whose complexities and contradictions invite deep exploration. Each one embodies facets of the film's central themes, their journeys and transformations reflecting broader questions of identity, legacy, and morality. As we delve into the characters, inner worlds, and relationships, we uncover a narrative that pulses with emotional depth and intellectual nuance, inviting us to see beyond archetypes into the fullness of human, and sometimes ambiguous, experience. At the heart of the story is the protagonist, a man whose passion for history and truth drives the narrative forward. Unlike the typical action hero, he is a scholar and a seeker, someone who inhabits the space between past and present with reverence and curiosity. His defining trait is a profound connection to legacy, shaped by his family's own history and the enigmatic shadow of his ancestors. This connection is both a source of strength and vulnerability, fueling his determination while exposing him to deep personal stakes. The portrayal of the protagonist is layered with nuance. He carries the burden of expectation and the weight of personal loss, yet maintains a wry sense of humor and a pragmatic approach to danger. His intelligence and resourcefulness are balanced by moments of self-doubt and emotional openness, creating a figure who is relatable and compelling. The actor's performance captures this complexity through subtle shifts in expression, tone, and posture, revealing a man who is as thoughtful as he is daring. Complementing him is the historian and partner, a character whose intellect and skepticism ground the narrative. Her sharp analytical mind and cautious nature contrast with the protagonist's impulsive zeal, creating a dynamic interplay that enriches the story. She represents the voice of reason and evidence, challenging assumptions and urging caution, yet her own journey reveals layers of courage and commitment that deepen her role. Their evolving relationship, marked by mutual respect and occasional tension, adds emotional texture and reflects the film's broader themes of trust and collaboration. The antagonist emerges as a figure of complexity rather than simple villainy. His motivations are rooted in a personal history marked by loss and a vision of reclaiming power and control. This nuanced portrayal challenges binary notions of good and evil, presenting a character whose actions, while morally questionable, are driven by a compelling worldview. His charisma and intellect mirror the protagonist's, setting up a conflict not just of physical prowess, but of ideals and legacies. The tension between these two figures forms the emotional and thematic core of the film. Supporting characters enrich the narrative tapestry, each bringing distinct perspectives and motivations. The protagonist's father, shrouded in mystery and memory, embodies the weight of history and unresolved family dynamics. His absence and legacy cast long shadows, influencing choices and emotional currents. Allies and adversaries alike possess depth, with their own arcs of loyalty, ambition, and redemption, reflecting the story's commitment to complexity and authenticity. Interpersonal dynamics drive much of the emotional resonance. Trust is fragile and often tested, as alliances shift and secrets emerge. Betrayals are not merely plot devices, but explorations of human frailty and resilience. Moments of reconciliation and sacrifice highlight the possibility of growth and connection amid conflict. Symbolism is woven into character development. The protagonist's sword is a potent extension of his identity and responsibility, forged through trial and embodying ideals of justice and courage. The antagonist's scars and bearing symbolize past wounds and hardened resolve. Costuming and visual cues further delineate roles and transformations, supporting narrative and thematic layers. The film's dialogue and interactions reveal psychological and emotional nuance. Characters negotiate power, fear, hope, and doubt with subtlety, their exchanges revealing underlying tensions and affinities. The writing allows space for silence and unspoken communication, enhancing realism and depth. Character arcs resist simplistic resolutions. Growth and change occur amid setbacks and contradictions, mirroring real human complexity. The protagonist's journey culminates not in unambiguous triumph, but in a tempered understanding of sacrifice and legacy. The antagonist's fate invites reflection on justice and mercy, leaving echoes beyond the narrative's close. The ensemble reflects broader cultural and thematic concerns, embodying questions of identity, heritage, and the shaping of history. Through their stories, the film explores how personal and collective pasts intertwine, influencing present choices and future possibilities. Ultimately, these richly drawn characters invite us to inhabit a world where myth and humanity converge, a place where stories are lived through the textures of heart and history. Their struggles, choices, and transformations resonate because they mirror the complexities within ourselves, fragile, courageous, flawed, and endlessly evolving. There's a special kind of magic that lingers not only in the final cut of a film, but in the stories woven through its making, the moments of serendipity, challenge, and unexpected humor that happen when art meets reality on a bustling set. Behind the sweeping action sequences and carefully constructed mysteries of this film lies a rich trove of fascinating anecdotes and unusual occurrences, all of which offer a deeper glimpse into the human spirit fueling the creative process. These strangest facts and behind-the-scenes tales reveal the heartbeat of the production, reminding us that filmmaking is as much about the people and their shared journey as it is about the spectacle on screen. One of the most remarkable aspects of the production was the extraordinary effort taken to authentically recreate historical settings and artifacts. The art department embarked on an exhaustive journey of research, poring over centuries-old documents, photographs, and blueprints to ensure that every prop and backdrop resonated with genuine texture. They consulted historians and curators, sometimes spending days inside archives handling delicate papers that inspired key plot elements. This devotion extended even to minutiae, such as the careful replication of aging on documents and weathering on the protagonist's gear, to evoke a lived-in, palpable reality. A particularly curious fact involves the film's iconic map, a centerpiece of the narrative that guides the treasure hunt. The prop was crafted with such intricate detail that it contained hundreds of subtle clues and Easter eggs, some of which were deliberately planted to reward attentive viewers. During production, crew members would gather around the map between takes, pointing out hidden symbols and historical nods they hadn't noticed before. The filmmakers even designed alternate versions of the map to prevent plot spoilers from leaking during filming. Unexpected natural events also played a role during location shoots. While filming on historic grounds, the crew encountered an unusually persistent swarm of bees, which disrupted shooting for several hours. Rather than panic, the team embraced the moment, with some cast members joking that the bees were guardians of the treasure, adding a lighthearted touch to an otherwise tense day. In a strange twist, these bees became a running joke among the crew and even inspired a brief improvised line in the script. The casting process held its own surprises. One supporting actor, initially brought in for a minor role, quickly impressed the director with his improvisational skills and on-set charisma. His performance was so compelling that the filmmakers expanded his character's screen time, weaving new scenes to showcase his talent. This organic growth exemplifies the fluid nature of filmmaking, where rigid plans sometimes give way to creative serendipity. Special effects posed significant challenges, especially in scenes involving intricate trap mechanisms and ancient locks. The effects team combined practical effects with CGI to create believable yet fantastical sequences. During the filming of a pivotal escape scene, a malfunction in a mechanical trap nearly caused an accident, but quick thinking by the stunt coordinator ensured everyone's safety. This close call led to improved safety protocols and reinforced the importance of teamwork. One of the film's most visually striking sequences, set in a secret underground chamber, was filmed using a combination of large-scale sets and miniature models. The miniature set, meticulously detailed, allowed for complex camera moves impossible to achieve on the full-size stage. This blending of scale models and live-action footage created a seamless illusion that captivated audiences, but required painstaking planning and coordination behind the scenes. The musical score was another source of interesting anecdotes. the composer integrated recordings of historical instruments played by master musicians alongside contemporary orchestration. During one session, an unexpected power outage in the studio forced the musicians to perform an impromptu acoustic rendition by candlelight. The resulting recording was so haunting and beautiful that parts were incorporated into the final soundtrack, lending an ethereal quality to key scenes. Voice recording sessions were marked by moments of spontaneity and camaraderie. The lead actor, new to voiceover work, found support in the ensemble cast, who encouraged him through challenging takes. On one occasion, a technical glitch caused repeated playback loops that led to unintentional comedic timing, breaking tension and resulting in shared laughter. The director chose to keep some of these imperfections, believing they added authenticity to the performances. But it proved a constant wildcard during outdoor shoots. Filming scheduled during the shoulder season meant grappling with sudden downpours and chilly winds. In one memorable instance, a carefully planned sunset scene was almost lost to storm clouds, but the crew embraced the overcast conditions, capturing a moody, atmospheric sequence that surpassed initial expectations. This adaptability became emblematic of the production's spirit. Costume design involved collaboration with local artisans who provided traditional fabrics and techniques. A serendipitous discovery of an ancient dyeing method led to costumes with subtle iridescence, which became a signature aesthetic for key characters. These textures added visual depth and connected the film's fantasy elements to real-world heritage. Marketing embraced innovative strategies, including an interactive online puzzle game that allowed fans to engage with the film's mythology and unlock exclusive content. Cast and crew participated in live streams and fan events, fostering a passionate community eager to delve deeper into the story's secrets. Throughout production, the atmosphere was one of mutual respect, creativity, and humor. The director fostered an inclusive environment where suggestions were welcomed and mistakes were met with grace. The camaraderie on set translated into authentic performances and a shared sense of accomplishment. Years later, many involved in the film reflect on the experience as transformative, a blend of artistry, adventure, and human connection. These behind-the-scenes stories enrich the film's legacy, reminding us that the magic on screen is born of countless moments of ingenuity, courage, and joy. In essence, the strangest facts about this film are not merely curiosities, but windows into the vibrant, complex, and deeply human world of filmmaking. They reveal a process where passion and professionalism intertwine, where challenges become opportunities, and where the pursuit of storytelling becomes an unforgettable journey shared by many hearts and minds. There is a profound alchemy in the way certain moments within a film crystallize into events that resonate far beyond their immediate narrative function. These are the pulses that give a story its lasting heartbeat. In this film, the significant events are more than plot points. They are carefully constructed junctures where theme, character, and cinematic craft intersect to challenge, move, and engage the audience. Each pivotal scene unfolds layers of meaning that invite reflection on history, identity, power, and the stories we tell ourselves and each other. One of the film's earliest and most resonant events is the discovery of the hidden map, an object both literal and symbolic, serving as a catalyst for the entire narrative. From a critical standpoint, this moment represents the unlocking of knowledge that has been obscured, a call to re-examine accepted histories and to question who holds the keys to truth. The film uses this event to foreground its central theme, that history is not a fixed ledger but a living dialogue, shaped by interpretation, power, and memory. Cinematically, the revelation is staged with a deliberate build-up, using close-ups to capture the protagonist's awe and the tactile details of the map, inviting viewers to share in the thrill of discovery and the weight of responsibility it entails. The dynamic between the protagonist and his historian partner crystallizes in a series of critical interactions that probe the tension between skepticism and belief. Their debates about evidence versus legend invite the audience into a meta-conversation about the nature of history and storytelling. These moments enrich the film's intellectual texture, illustrating that quests for truth require both rigorous inquiry and imaginative openness. The evolving trust between these characters also grounds the film emotionally, making the stakes personal as well as intellectual. The antagonist's introduction and escalating interference mark a turning point that intensifies narrative tension and thematic complexity. Unlike a one-dimensional villain, this character embodies a critique of power's corrupting influence and the peril of rewriting history for personal gain. His pursuit of the treasure is intertwined with a desire to impose a singular narrative, reflecting broader cultural concerns about control over memory and identity. This event challenges viewers to consider ethical dimensions of legacy, what is preserved, who decides, and why. A particularly significant event unfolds in the climactic sequence within the underground chamber, a physical and symbolic descent into the heart of national myth and memory. Here, the film's cinematography and sound design converge to create an atmosphere thick with awe and tension. The dim, flickering light casts long shadows over ancient relics, while the echoing footsteps and hushed whispers evoke reverence and foreboding. This setting becomes a crucible where personal and collective histories collide, and where the film's thematic exploration of legacy and truth reaches its zenith. Within this space, the protagonist's revelation of the treasure's true nature, a codex of ideals rather than gold, subverts traditional notions of value and success. This moment invites a critical reading of the film's message, that the greatest treasures are not material wealth, but the principles and stories that sustain a community's identity and conscience. The film thus situates itself within a lineage of works that elevate intellectual and ethical quests over physical conquest. The climactic confrontation between protagonist and antagonist is staged not only as a physical battle, but as a symbolic contest of ideals. The choreography and framing emphasize dualities, light and shadow, past and future, justice and power, inviting viewers to engage with the moral ambiguities at play. Close-ups reveal flickers of doubt and conviction, underscoring the human stakes behind ideological conflict. The soundscape punctuates the tension, with a blend of rising orchestration and silence, heightening emotional impact. Parallel subplots of trust and betrayal among supporting characters deepen the narrative's exploration of loyalty and integrity. These interpersonal events reflect the fragility and resilience of human bonds, reinforcing the film's meditation on the social dimensions of history and identity. Moments of reconciliation and sacrifice are portrayed with emotional subtlety, grounding the epic scope in intimate human experience. Visually, the film employs recurring motifs, light-piercing darkness, weathered documents, symbolic artifacts that link events thematically and reinforce emotional resonance. These images function as visual leitmotifs, echoing throughout the narrative to deepen meaning and invite layered interpretation. The film's sound design and musical score play a crucial role in shaping audience reception of key events. The blending of traditional and orchestral elements creates an auditory landscape that evokes cultural roots while underscoring dramatic tension. Musical cues associate with characters and themes, evolving alongside narrative developments to enhance emotional engagement. Audience and critical responses highlight the effectiveness of these events in conveying complex themes with both clarity and subtlety. Viewers have praised the film's balance of intellectual rigor and emotional accessibility, noting how key moments invite reflection without sacrificing entertainment. Discussions in scholarly and fan communities often focus on the film's treatment of history as a contested and living narrative, demonstrating its resonance beyond the screen. The film's thematic and emotional resonance is amplified by its refusal to offer simplistic resolutions. Victories are tempered by loss, truths remain partly elusive, and legacies are shown as dynamic processes rather than static inheritances. This nuanced approach challenges audiences to consider their own relationships to history, memory, and identity. In summary, the film's significant events function as focal points of meaning and feeling, moments where story, theme, and cinematic craft coalesce to engage viewers intellectually and emotionally. They transform the film from a mere adventure into a profound meditation on the power of stories to shape who we are and who we might become. Through these events, the film invites us not only to watch, but to think deeply and to carry forward the questions and insights it awakens. There is an alchemy behind every great film, a fusion of artistry, innovation, and sheer human determination that transforms words on a page into a living, breathing experience. The making of this particular film was no exception. Beneath its thrilling facade and intricate puzzles lies a rich narrative of its own, told through the efforts, challenges, and unexpected moments shared by the cast and crew. Peeling back the curtain reveals a vibrant tapestry of creativity, collaboration, and even serendipity, where each element contributed to the movie's unique energy and enduring charm. From the very outset, the filmmakers approached the project with a deep respect for history and storytelling. Pre-production was marked by extensive research and consultation with historians, archivists, and cultural experts, ensuring that every detail, from the design of ancient documents to the architecture of iconic landmarks, resonated with authenticity. The art department pored over centuries-old maps and blueprints, sometimes spending days in archives, handling fragile papers that inspired some of the film's most crucial plot points. This rigorous attention to detail shaped the visual world in ways subtle and profound, grounding the fantastical adventure in a palpable reality. One of the most fascinating behind-the-scenes stories centers on the creation of the film's legendary map, a centerpiece prop around which much of the narrative revolves. The prop makers crafted multiple versions of the map, each painstakingly hand-drawn and embedded with intricate clues. Crew members often gathered during breaks to study these maps, delighting in discovering hidden symbols and messages that were designed to reward attentive eyes. To prevent spoilers, the production team cleverly created decoy maps, adding an extra layer of mystery that extended beyond the screen. Filming on location presented its own set of challenges and unexpected moments. During a shoot on the grounds of a historic monument, the crew was momentarily halted by an unplanned visit from a local beekeeper's swarm. What could have been a disruption turned into a moment of levity, as cast and crew jokingly dubbed the bees guardians of the treasure. This incident sparked a running joke on set, and even inspired a small improvisation in a later scene, illustrating how production realities often seep into the creative fabric. Casting brought surprises that enriched the film's texture. A supporting actor, initially hired for a minor part, quickly impressed the director and writers with his improvisational flair and depth. His role was expanded, and new scenes were written to showcase his talents, an organic evolution reflecting the production's openness to creative growth. This kind of adaptability fueled a sense of discovery and collaboration throughout the process. The special effects team faced significant technical hurdles, particularly in sequences involving ancient traps and intricate lock mechanisms. Combining practical effects with CGI, they crafted sequences that balanced believability with cinematic excitement. During one intense scene, a malfunction in a mechanical trap nearly caused an on-set accident, but the quick reflexes of the stunt coordinator averted disaster. This incident led to enhanced safety measures and became a touchstone story, underscoring the crew's professionalism and camaraderie. The film's most visually arresting underground chamber was realized through a blend of large-scale sets and meticulously detailed miniatures. The miniatures allowed for dynamic camera movements that would have been impossible on full-scale sets, blending seamlessly with live-action footage to create an immersive environment that captivated audiences. The coordination required for this integration was immense, involving close collaboration between model makers, cinematographers, and visual effects artists. Music played a vital role in shaping the film's atmosphere. The composer fused traditional instruments with contemporary orchestral elements, creating a score that was both culturally resonant and emotionally compelling. During recording sessions, a sudden power outage led musicians to perform an impromptu acoustic set by candlelight. This unplanned moment of intimacy was so hauntingly beautiful that portions were incorporated into the final soundtrack, adding an ethereal layer to the film's soundscape. Voice recording sessions offered a glimpse into the camaraderie behind the characters' voices. The lead actor, relatively new to voice work, was supported warmly by the ensemble cast. Technical glitches during recordings led to accidental loops and comedic timing that broke tension and fostered laughter. The director embraced these imperfections, believing they brought authenticity and spontaneity to the performances. Weather proved a perennial wildcard, especially during outdoor shoots scheduled in transitional seasons. On one occasion, a scene slated for golden hour was threatened by storm clouds, but rather than postpone, the crew adapted creatively, filming in overcast conditions that lent the scene a moody, dramatic quality that surpassed initial expectations. This flexibility became emblematic of the production's spirit. Costume design was a labor of love and cultural homage. Designers collaborated with local artisans, sourcing authentic fabrics and reviving traditional dyeing techniques. One serendipitous discovery of an ancient iridescent dye transformed key costumes, adding a shimmering effect that visually symbolized transformation and legacy. Such details, though subtle, enriched the film's visual storytelling and connection to heritage. Marketing embraced innovation, launching an interactive online puzzle game that allowed fans to engage directly with the film's mythology and unlock exclusive content. Cast and crew participated in live chats and behind-the-scenes reveals, cultivating a vibrant fan community eager to delve deeper into the story's mysteries. Throughout production, an atmosphere of respect, humor, and shared purpose prevailed. The director encouraged open dialogue and welcomed creative input, fostering an environment where challenges were met with resilience and ideas flourished. The bonds forged on set translated into performances rich with authenticity and energy. Years later, the memories and stories from this production continue to inspire. They remind us that beyond the screen's polished surface lies a world of human endeavor, of sweat, laughter, perseverance, and passion. These behind-the-scenes tales enrich our appreciation of the film, transforming it from a cinematic adventure into a living testament of collaborative artistry. In essence, the strangest and most fascinating facts about this film are not merely curiosities, but windows into the heart of filmmaking, a process where creativity and chance, craft and community converge to create magic. They remind us that every frame is born of countless moments of ingenuity and care, making the journey from script to screen as compelling as the story itself. There is something profoundly evocative about the way a film's settings and cinematic elements coalesce, not merely as places or images, but as living, breathing extensions of the narrative's heart and soul. In this film, the environments and visual language are crafted with a meticulousness that invites viewers to step beyond passive observation and into a world where every shadow, texture, and frame carries weight and meaning. From the historic streets and monumental landmarks to the claustrophobic interiors and secret chambers, the film's settings are as much characters as the people who inhabit them, shaping mood, theme, and emotional resonance with each shot. The story begins grounded in the familiar, a bustling urban landscape layered with centuries of history and symbolism. The opening scenes unfold in the heart of a city whose iconic architecture and storied monuments provide a rich tapestry of cultural memory. These settings are portrayed not as static backdrops, but as dynamic spaces alive with history, inviting the audience to reimagine the familiar as a palimpsest, where the past's whispers intermingle with present-day urgency. The camera's gaze lingers on textured stone, weathered plaques, and the intricate craftsmanship of ironwork, anchoring the narrative in tangible reality. The streets themselves become pathways not only for physical movement, but for temporal and thematic journeying. Their narrow alleys and grand avenues evoke the layers of narrative, hidden secrets lurking beneath surface order, the intertwining of public spectacle and private mystery. The film's attention to detail, weathered bricks, the flicker of lanterns, the ebb and flow of crowds, immerses viewers in a sensory experience that feels both immediate and timeless. As the narrative progresses, the film introduces more secluded and secretive spaces, libraries filled with ancient tomes, dimly lit archives, hidden rooms whose very existence seems whispered rather than declared. These settings are designed to evoke both wonder and claustrophobia, with low, flickering light casting deep shadows and architectural details that suggest hidden passageways and concealed histories. The cinematography here employs tight framing and shallow focus, creating a sense of intimacy and unease, as if every corner holds a revelation or a threat. The underground chamber sequence marks a dramatic shift in setting, plunging the narrative into a space where history becomes palpable and myth breathes alongside fact. The chamber is a vast, cathedral-like vault, filled with relics, inscriptions, and mysterious artifacts. Cinematography here uses wide-angle lenses to capture the enormity and solemnity of the space, while slow, deliberate camera movements evoke reverence and suspense. Lighting is subdued, with shafts of light cutting through darkness, creating a chiaroscuro effect that visually embodies the narrative's themes of revelation and concealment. Texture plays a crucial role throughout these settings. The tactile qualities of stone, parchment, metal, and wood are emphasized through close-up shots that invite viewers to almost feel their roughness, weight, and history. This sensory richness bridges the gap between the audience and the film's world, making the abstract notions of history and memory feel immediate and lived in. Color palettes are carefully curated to enhance mood and thematic depth. The urban scenes employ a palette of muted earth tones, grays, browns, and faded blues that convey both the weight of history and the veneer of modernity. Contrasting this, scenes of discovery and revelation are infused with warmer hues, golden light, rich amber, that symbolize knowledge, enlightenment, and hope. These chromatic shifts guide emotional response and underscore narrative turns. Light and shadow function as motifs throughout the film. Natural light sources, sunlight filtering through windows, flickering candles, street lamps, create dynamic contrasts that symbolize the interplay of truth and secrecy. The use of darkness is never merely absence but a presence unto itself, shaping tone and tension. The cinematographer's mastery of lighting crafts scenes that feel simultaneously intimate and monumental, reflecting the story's oscillation between personal quest and grand historical sweep. Spatial composition contributes meaningfully to storytelling. The arrangement of characters within frames, whether isolated against vast architectural elements or enclosed in tight quarters, speaks to their emotional states and relational dynamics. Thresholds such as doorways, staircases, and corridors are used symbolically, marking transitions, choices, and crossings between worlds or states of mind. The film also employs reflective surfaces, mirrors, polished stone, glass, to create visual doubling and thematic resonance. These reflections invite viewers to consider themes of identity, perception, and the multiplicity of history's truths. Such visual techniques enrich the narrative by encouraging layered interpretations. Sound design complements the visual richness, anchoring setting and mood through carefully crafted ambient noises and thematic motifs. The bustling cityscape is filled with the murmur of voices, footsteps, distant bells, sounds that ground the viewer in place and time. In contrast, the silence of secret chambers is punctuated by subtle echoes and the soft rustle of ancient papers, heightening suspense and intimacy. Musical scoring weaves traditional motifs with cinematic orchestration, supporting the film's tonal shifts and emotional arcs. Themes associated with particular locations or discoveries subtly recur, reinforcing narrative cohesion and thematic depth. Editing choices further shape the experience of setting and mood. Pacing modulates to allow moments of contemplation amid sequences of tension and action. Transitions often utilize crossfades and matched cuts that link scenes thematically, creating a poetic flow that mirrors the film's blending of past and present. Ultimately, the film's settings and cinematic elements create an immersive, textured world where history is not simply recounted but felt and lived. Through meticulous attention to visual and auditory detail, the filmmakers invite viewers to inhabit spaces that echo with memory and possibility, transforming familiar landmarks into gateways to mystery and revelation. This synthesis of setting, light, color, texture, and sound crafts an atmosphere that is both evocative and compelling, drawing the audience into a richly layered narrative experience. It reminds us that cinema's power lies not only in story, but in the sensory worlds it builds, worlds that invite us to see anew, to listen deeply, and to feel profoundly connected to the timeless dance of history and human longing. There's an unspoken magic in the spaces behind the camera, the moments when the bright lights dim between takes, the laughter that bubbles up amid exhaustion, the spontaneous acts of kindness and ingenuity that knit a crew into a family. The making of this film was a journey not just of creative vision, but of human connection, resilience, and delight in discovery. Behind the polished final product lies a rich trove of stories that reveal the soul of the production, moments where the artistry met the unpredictable dance of reality. From the first day on set, the atmosphere was charged with a shared sense of purpose, tempered by light-hearted camaraderie. The director fostered a culture of openness, encouraging everyone, actors, technicians, designers, to contribute ideas and embrace improvisation. This spirit of collaboration breathed life into the scenes, allowing performances to evolve organically and technical challenges to be met with collective creativity. One particularly memorable day involved the filming of a tense chase sequence through historic streets. The streets were alive with onlookers and unexpected interruptions, including a curious street performer whose improvised dance momentarily diverted the crew's focus. Rather than interrupt, the director invited the performer to join in, turning the moment into a spontaneous celebration that lifted everyone's spirits. This joyful interlude became a beloved anecdote, reminding all that magic often arises from the unplanned. The cast developed close bonds over the long hours and shared challenges. The lead actor, navigating the physical demands of the role and the complexities of the character's intellect and emotion, found steadfast support among his co-stars. Between takes, they engaged in friendly debates about history and mythology, deepening their understanding of the film's themes and each other's perspectives. These interactions enriched their on-screen chemistry, lending authenticity to the relationships portrayed. Technical crews faced their own adventures. The special effects team, tasked with blending practical effects and CGI, often worked under intense pressure. During one shoot involving a complex trap mechanism, a miscommunication nearly led to a delay when a crucial prop failed to function. The quick thinking of a junior technician who improvised a workaround saved the day. This moment highlighted the value of every member's ingenuity and the team's collective resilience. Filming in real historic locations presented unique logistical challenges. Weather, public access, and preservation concerns required meticulous planning and flexibility. On a chilly autumn morning, a sudden rainstorm threatened to derail an outdoor scene. The crew swiftly adapted, using tarps and creatively adjusting camera angles to maintain continuity. This adaptability became emblematic of the production's ethos, finding opportunity within constraint. Costume fittings were not without their own surprises. A local artisan brought a traditional dyeing technique that yielded unexpected iridescence in key garments, a visual effect that became a hallmark of the film's aesthetic. This serendipitous discovery enriched the costumes, texture, and symbolism, reflecting the fusion of history and fantasy at the film's core. Voice recording sessions revealed the warmth and humor behind the characters' voices. The cast often recorded together, creating a lively environment where lines were tested, reimagined, and sometimes playfully parodied. On one occasion, a technical glitch caused an amusing loop of a dramatic line that had everyone laughing, a candid moment preserved in blooper reels and fond memory. Editing was a marathon of creativity and problem-solving. The post-production team juggled a complex tapestry of live-action footage, visual effects, and sound design. A major software update unexpectedly corrupted key files, prompting an all-hands-on-deck recovery effort. Late nights were fueled by camaraderie and music, forging bonds that carried the team through challenges. Music recording sessions blended tradition and innovation. Musicians brought indigenous instruments into dialogue with orchestral arrangements, creating a score rich with cultural resonance. During one session, a spontaneous jam led to a motif that would become central to the film's emotional palette, a testament to the power of improvisation and collaboration. Marketing embraced interactive storytelling, engaging fans with puzzles and behind-the-scenes content. Cast and crew participated enthusiastically in online chats and panels, deepening the film's connection to its audience and nurturing a passionate community. Throughout the production, moments of vulnerability and triumph wove together, a shared journey marked by laughter, exhaustion, breakthroughs, and friendship. These behind-the-scenes stories illuminate the human heart beneath the cinematic spectacle, reminding us that every frame is the product of countless acts of dedication and joy. Years on, these tales endure as a testament to the collaborative spirit that made the film not just a work of art, but a living, breathing celebration of creativity and connection. They invite us to appreciate cinema not only for what it shows, but for the vibrant human story that unfolds behind the scenes. There's an almost whispered poetry woven into the very fabric of this film, threads of meaning that, when unraveled, reveal a tapestry rich with themes and symbolism. These elements transform what might initially appear as a straightforward adventure into a layered meditation on history, identity, power, and legacy. The film invites us not merely to witness a treasure hunt, but to engage with the enduring questions about how stories shape our understanding of the past and ourselves, and how the symbols we inherit continue to influence our present and future. At its core, the film is a profound exploration of legacy, both personal and collective. The protagonist's journey is steeped in the weight of ancestral history and the desire to uncover truths obscured by time and power. This theme resonates deeply, echoing the human experience of grappling with the past, questioning inherited narratives, and seeking one's place within a continuum of memory and meaning. The quest for the hidden treasure becomes a metaphor for the search for identity, a quest not for material wealth but for understanding and connection. Closely intertwined is the theme of knowledge as power. The film presents history not as a neutral record but as a contested space, where truths are guarded, altered, or hidden to serve particular agendas. The secret society that protects the treasure symbolizes the gatekeepers of knowledge, raising questions about authority, access, and the ethics of preservation. This dynamic invites reflection on who controls narratives, whose voices are heard or silenced, and how history is actively shaped rather than passively recorded. The film also delves into the tension between myth and reality. Treasure Hunt blurs these boundaries, showing how myths, whether national founding stories or personal family legends, carry truths that transcend literal fact. Symbols such as the map, the sword, and the cryptic codes function as bridges between tangible history and the intangible values and ideals that stories convey. This interplay enriches the narrative, positioning myth as a living, dynamic force that shapes cultural identity and personal destiny. Sacrifice is a recurring motif that deepens emotional resonance. Characters confront losses and make choices that underscore the costs inherent in the pursuit of truth and justice. These sacrifices highlight themes of courage, loyalty, and the complex interplay between personal desires and greater responsibilities. The film honors sacrifice as a profound act that shapes character and legacy, neither glamorizing nor minimizing its pain. Identity emerges as a multifaceted theme, explored through characters, relationships with family, nation, and self. The protagonist's struggle with his father's legacy and his own place in history reflects universal human experiences of belonging and self-definition. The film suggests that identity is not fixed but negotiated, shaped by the stories we inherit and the ones we choose to tell. Symbolism permeates the film's visual and narrative language. The map, central to the plot, symbolizes guidance, discovery, and the pursuit of hidden knowledge. Its layered clues and intricate design reflect the complexity of history itself, coded, multifaceted, and requiring interpretation. The sword, forged through trial and imbued with ancestral significance, embodies themes of responsibility, justice, and transformation. It is not merely a weapon, but an extension of the protagonist's evolving identity and moral agency. Light and shadow function as symbolic motifs throughout the film. Scenes awash in warm, golden light evoke hope, revelation, and connection, while those enveloped in darkness suggest secrecy. Danger and moral ambiguity. This chiaroscuro mirrors the narrative's exploration of truth and deception, highlighting that clarity often emerges from contrast. Natural elements, fire, water, earth, and air, are woven into symbolic imagery. Fire represents both destruction and renewal, evident in forging scenes and moments of emotional catharsis. Water symbolizes purification and transition, accompanying key turning points. Earth grounds characters in heritage and reality, while air and wind evoke change and the unseen forces shaping destiny. Ritual and ceremony underscore the film's engagement with tradition and cultural memory. Scenes of communal gatherings, ancestral homage, and secret rites anchor the narrative in a continuum of human experience, affirming the power of collective memory to sustain identity amid change. Color usage enhances symbolism and theme. Earthy tones convey rootedness and continuity. Vibrant reds and golds mark moments of passion, power, and revelation. Shifts in palette accompany character transformation and thematic progression, visually narrating the story's emotional landscape. Spatial symbolism enriches narrative meaning. Thresholds such as doors, bridges, and underground passages represent transitions between ignorance and knowledge, past and future, safety and danger. These spaces invite contemplation of liminality and change. The film's musical motifs complement thematic depth, weaving cultural instruments with cinematic scoring to evoke heritage and emotion. Recurring themes associate with characters and ideas, reinforcing narrative coherence and emotional engagement. Interpersonal relationships embody and complicate themes of trust, betrayal, and reconciliation. Bonds forged in adversity reflect resilience and hope, while fractures expose human fragility. These dynamics illustrate that legacy is as much relational as historical. Ultimately, the film's themes and symbolism invite viewers to engage with a story that transcends adventure, becoming a meditation on how we relate to history, identity, and the stories that shape us. It challenges us to consider not only what treasures lie hidden in the past, but how those treasures, stories, values, memories, live within us and guide our journey forward. Through this rich interplay of motifs and ideas, the film resonates as a timeless myth and a deeply personal exploration, a testament to storytelling's power to illuminate the human condition and connect us across generations. There's a delicate alchemy at work behind the camera, a seamless weaving together of light, sound, movement, and timing that breathes life into a story, transforming it from ink on a page to a vibrant, immersive experience. This film exemplifies that magic through a masterful orchestration of filmmaking techniques, each choice carefully calibrated to evoke emotion, underscore theme, and pull viewers deep into its world. Exploring the layers of cinematography, editing, sound design, and box office production reveals not only the craftsmanship behind the spectacle, but how these elements collectively shape the film's enduring impact. From the very first frame, the cinematography establishes a visual language that balances grandeur with intimacy. The opening sequences ground us in a familiar urban landscape, captured through warm, natural light that bathes historic architecture in golden hues, evoking nostalgia and a connection to legacy. Wide-angle shots showcase sweeping vistas of monuments and bustling streets, situating the narrative within a living, breathing cityscape rich with history. These expansive visuals invite viewers to appreciate scale and context, reminding us that the story unfolds within a world shaped by time and memory. In contrast, close-ups focus on tactile details, the texture of aged parchment, the flicker of candlelight, the subtle expressions that reveal character and emotion. This interplay between the panoramic and the intimate creates a rhythm that mirrors the protagonist's journey, from broad exploration to focused discovery. The camera work often employs steady tracking shots and smooth crane movements during moments of tension and revelation, immersing the audience in the chase and the puzzle solving with visceral immediacy. Lighting plays a pivotal role in shaping atmosphere and tone. The film utilizes chiaroscuro, dramatic contrasts between light and shadow to reflect narrative tensions and moral ambiguity. Scenes of discovery and hope are suffused with warm, diffused light, while sequences of suspense and conflict often plunge into shadowy, low-key lighting that heightens mystery and danger. This visual contrast is not merely aesthetic but thematic, reinforcing the story's oscillation between clarity and obscurity, truth and deception. Color grading enhances these dynamics, with earthy tones grounding the film in cultural specificity and selective bursts of vibrant hues, deep reds, shimmering golds, rich greens, marking moments of power, transformation, or revelation. The protagonist's evolving costume palette subtly reflects his growth, shifting from muted, worn fabrics to richer textures that signal increasing authority and self-realization. The texture of the film's visual world is meticulously crafted. The camera lingers on surfaces, weathered stone, intricate engravings, rusted metal, that evoke history and authenticity, grounding fantastical elements in sensory reality. This tactile attention enhances immersion, inviting viewers to not only see but feel the story's world. Spatial composition is employed with symbolic intent. Open spaces suggest freedom, possibility, and connection to heritage, while enclosed settings, vaulted archives, hidden chambers, convey secrecy, confinement, and the weight of history. Thresholds such as doorways, staircases, and bridges mark transitions, framing pivotal moments of choice and change. These spatial cues guide the audience's emotional and intellectual engagement with the narrative. Natural elements, fire, water, earth, air, are woven into visual motifs. Fire, central to forging and revelation, symbolizes transformation and the dual potential for destruction and renewal. Water represents cleansing and passage, appearing in scenes of catharsis and transition. Earth grounds characters in heritage and continuity, while wind and storms evoke upheaval and unseen forces at play. The film's visual effects seamlessly blend practical and digital techniques. The towering beanstalk, shimmering sword, and spectral figures combine CGI with miniatures and on-set lighting to create tactile magic that preserves immersion and emotional accessibility. This integration exemplifies how technology serves storytelling, enhancing rather than overshadowing narrative and performance. Sound design is foundational to atmosphere and emotional resonance. The auditory landscape layers authentic field recordings, urban ambience, footsteps, rustling papers, with crafted effects that heighten tension and wonder. Silence is used strategically to punctuate moments of revelation or dread, amplifying their impact. The blending of diegetic and non-diegetic sound creates a rich sensory texture that deepens viewer engagement. The musical score merges traditional instruments with cinematic orchestration, reflecting cultural roots and dramatic scope. The composer employs recurring motifs associated with characters and themes, evolving them alongside narrative arcs to underscore emotional and thematic progression. Recording sessions embraced improvisation and cultural consultation, imbuing the score with authenticity and vitality. Editing shapes narrative pace and emotional flow. The film balances lingering contemplative shots with brisk, kinetic sequences, modulating tension and release to sustain engagement. Transitions often employ visual and auditory motifs to link scenes thematically, creating poetic resonance and narrative coherence. The interplay of rapid cuts during action sequences and extended takes during moments of reflection mirrors the protagonist's internal journey. Dialogue and sound mixing prioritize clarity and naturalism while preserving ambient texture. Vocal performances are layered with subtle emotional cues, pauses, inflections, silences that enhance characterization and mood. The film's soundscape supports both plot and theme, guiding viewer perception and emotional response. Box office production mirrored the film's ambition and cultural significance. It opened strongly in domestic markets, buoyed by critical acclaim and word-of-mouth enthusiasm, before expanding internationally. Marketing campaigns combined traditional media with digital innovation, including interactive puzzles and social media engagement that deepened audience connection and extended the narrative experience beyond the screen. Financial success challenged industry assumptions about the marketability of culturally specific stories, sparking discussions on representation and the global appetite for diverse narratives. The film's performance underscored cinema's potential to bridge cultural divides through universal themes and compelling storytelling. Ultimately, the film's filmmaking techniques, cinematography, lighting, sound, editing, visual effects, function as integral storytellers. They craft a sensory and emotional journey that immerses viewers, evokes empathy, and amplifies thematic depth. This cinematic language transforms the film from spectacle into a living, breathing world that stays with audiences long after the credits roll. Examining these techniques reveals the artistry behind the magic, highlighting cinema's unique capacity to blend technology and humanity in the service of story, a dance of light, shadow, sound, and movement that invites us to see, feel, and understand anew. There's a certain aliveness that infuses a film not only through its story and visuals, but through the people who breathe life into its characters, the cast whose performances bridge script and screen, and the interviews that peel back layers of creation to reveal their inspirations, challenges, and reflections. Coupled with the diverse chorus of audience reactions, these elements create a dynamic dialogue between film and viewer, enriching the experience far beyond passive watching. To explore the cast's journeys, the insights shared in interviews, and the resonance found in audience reviews is to appreciate the living, evolving nature of cinema as a shared cultural event. The protagonist stands at the center of this constellation, a figure whose complexity and charisma anchor the film's emotional and intellectual weight. Portrayed by an actor relatively new to lead roles, but deeply committed to embodying the character's blend of intellectual curiosity, personal vulnerability, and resolute courage, the performance earned widespread acclaim. In interviews, the actor often speaks about the challenge of balancing the role's physical demands with its cerebral depth, emphasizing the importance of grounding adventure in authenticity. His preparation involved extensive research into history and code breaking, as well as physical training to handle action sequences, reflecting a holistic approach to inhabiting the role. Co-starring alongside him is the historian and intellectual partner, brought to life by a seasoned actress known for her nuanced portrayals of strong, layered women. In interviews, she discusses the character's evolution from skeptic to believer, highlighting the relational dynamics that unfold amid danger and discovery. Her reflections reveal a deep appreciation for the film's thematic complexity and its respectful engagement with cultural history. The chemistry between the leads, often noted by critics and fans alike, is credited to their mutual respect and collaborative spirit on set. The antagonist offers one of the film's most compelling performances, a character whose charisma and menace are balanced by moments of vulnerability and ideological conviction. The actor's approach involved delving into the psychology of power and loss, portraying a figure driven not by mere villainy, but by a complex vision of justice and legacy. Interviews reveal his fascination with exploring moral ambiguity, challenging audiences to consider the nature of conflict beyond simple binaries. His nuanced portrayal contributes to the film's thematic richness and emotional tension. Supporting cast members bring depth and texture, from the enigmatic figures within the secret society to family members whose histories intertwine with the protagonists. Many of these actors share stories of their own engagement with history and myth, adding authenticity and passion to their performances. Ensemble rehearsals and on-location shoots fostered close bonds that translated into convincing relational dynamics on screen. Interviews with the director and creative team shed light on the collaborative process behind casting and character development. The director speaks passionately about seeking actors who could embody both the intellectual and emotional demands of the story, emphasizing the importance of authenticity and cultural resonance. Stories from the set highlight moments where actors improvised or deepened their roles through research and dialogue with consultants, enriching the film's texture. Audience reviews paint a vivid picture of the film's impact across diverse demographics. Many viewers expressed delight at the film's blend of intellectual challenge and thrilling adventure, appreciating its respect for history and layered storytelling. Comments often highlight the lead actors' performances as grounding and relatable, praising their ability to humanize a narrative steeped in mystery and symbolism. Discussions among fans reveal engagement with the film's puzzles and codes, fostering communities that analyze clues, share interpretations, and celebrate the film's cultural references. This interactive engagement extends the film's life beyond the theater, creating a participatory experience that deepens connection. Critics acknowledge the film's success in balancing entertainment with thoughtful exploration, praising the cast's chemistry and the depth brought to their roles. Some reviews note the film's willingness to challenge genre conventions by foregrounding intellectual curiosity and ethical questions within a mainstream adventure narrative. The resonance of the film's themes, legacy, knowledge, identity, finds echoes in audience reflections on their own relationships to history and family. Viewers speak of feeling inspired to explore their heritage and question received narratives, testifying to the film's capacity to provoke personal reflection alongside cinematic enjoyment. Public appearances, panel discussions, and fan events featuring the cast and crew further illustrate the film's communal dimension. Actors share anecdotes about their preparation and experiences, while audiences express gratitude for the film's depth and representation. These interactions underscore cinema's role as a site of cultural exchange and shared storytelling. The film's reception has also sparked academic interest, with scholars analyzing character portrayals, narrative structure, and thematic content. This dialogue between popular and scholarly perspectives enriches understanding and situates the film within broader conversations about history, myth, and identity. In essence, the cast's performances, their candid reflections in interviews, and the vibrant mosaic of audience responses form a living ecosystem that sustains the film's vitality. They transform the cinematic text into a shared cultural artifact, one that invites ongoing engagement, interpretation, and connection. Through this interplay, the film transcends its frames to become a dialogue that echoes in hearts and minds, inviting each viewer to embark on their own journey of discovery. There's a certain kind of quiet gravity that settles as we come to the close of this journey, a space where reflection invites us to gather the threads woven through our exploration and hold them together, if only for a moment, before they disperse into the ongoing flow of stories and life. In tracing the rich landscape of this film, we have navigated far beyond a simple narrative of treasure and mystery. We have delved into the complexities of legacy and identity, walked the corridors of history and myth, and met characters whose struggles and triumphs resonate deeply because they reflect the human condition in all its nuance. Our journey began by opening the door to a world where history is not fixed, but alive, layered with secrets waiting to be unearthed by those willing to look beyond surface appearances. We met a protagonist whose quest is as much about understanding himself and his place in the continuum of memory as it is about the physical treasure. Alongside him, companions and adversaries personified the tensions between belief and skepticism, power and responsibility, justice and ambition. Their interactions invited us to contemplate the delicate balance between past and present, personal desire, and collective good. We explored the film's plot in detail, uncovering the intricate puzzles and high-stakes chases that propel the narrative forward. Each clue decoded and obstacle overcome became a metaphor for the deeper themes at play, the pursuit of truth, the shaping of identity, and the enduring influence of stories on who we are. The twists and revelations that kept us on the edge of our seats were imbued with meaning, challenging us to consider not just what the characters sought, but why their quest mattered. Our examination of character brought to light the rich inner lives behind the performances, the fears, hopes, and contradictions that made them compelling and relatable. The protagonist's journey was mirrored in the nuanced portrayals by a dedicated cast whose insights in interviews deepened our understanding of their roles. We saw how their interpretations and relationships infused the film with emotional depth, and how audience responses revealed the film's resonance across diverse viewers. Peeling back the layers of production revealed a tapestry of human endeavor and creativity, where moments of challenge and serendipity shaped the film's texture. From the painstaking research and craftsmanship behind props and sets to the warmth and humor shared on set, these stories remind us that filmmaking is a deeply human collaboration, where passion and resilience bring stories to life. The settings and cinematic techniques crafted immersive worlds where history and myth coexisted, where light and shadow danced to tell a story as much in visual language as in dialogue. The interplay of color, texture, sound, and editing shaped mood and meaning, guiding viewers through emotional and intellectual landscapes that linger beyond the screen. The film's thematic and symbolic richness invited us to see beyond spectacle, to engage with questions of legacy, knowledge, power, and identity that resonate universally. Its refusal to offer easy answers challenges us to hold complexity and ambiguity, mirroring the multifaceted nature of history and human experience. There is a profound, almost whispering power in the way certain films weave their themes and symbolism, not just through dialogue or plot, but through imagery, atmosphere, and the very rhythm of their storytelling. This film, while on the surface an exhilarating adventure filled with puzzles and peril, is in truth a richly layered meditation on history, identity, legacy, and the human quest for meaning. To engage with these themes and symbols is to open a door into a world where every artifact, shadow, and spoken word carries echoes far beyond its immediate context, inviting us to reflect on our own place within the vast web of stories that shape who we are. At its core, the film grapples with the concept of legacy in its most expansive and intimate forms. The protagonist's journey is driven not simply by the pursuit of treasure, but by a deeply felt connection to his ancestors and a desire to uncover truths hidden beneath layers of myth and obfuscation. This theme resonates universally, speaking to the human impulse to understand where we come from as a means of making sense of who we are. The treasure hunt becomes a metaphor for this internal quest, a search for identity and belonging that transcends generations. The protagonist is haunted and propelled by the past, yet also compelled to forge his own path forward, embodying the tension between inheritance and self-determination. Legacy here is not presented as a static inheritance, but as a living dialogue between past and present. The film suggests that history is not a fixed record, but a dynamic narrative, shaped and reshaped by those who tell it. This idea is embodied in the secret society tasked with guarding the treasure, custodians of knowledge, whose role is as much about controlling access to the past as it is about protecting it. The tension between preservation and power, between secrecy and revelation, invites us to consider who has the authority to shape collective memory and how those choices impact identity and justice. Closely intertwined with legacy is the theme of knowledge as power. The film portrays history as a contested terrain, where truths are hidden, altered, or weaponized. The treasure itself is symbolic not simply of wealth, but of knowledge that has the capacity to reshape understanding and influence the future. This elevates the narrative from a mere physical adventure to a philosophical inquiry into epistemology, the study of knowledge, belief, and truth. The protagonist's quest becomes a metaphor for the struggle to access and interpret truth amid layers of deception and ambiguity. The theme of myth versus reality plays a crucial role, blurring the boundaries between fact and legend. The film's narrative is steeped in the interplay between tangible artifacts and the intangible values and ideals they represent. Symbols such as the map, the sword, and the cryptic codes function as bridges linking the physical and the metaphysical. The film invites us to appreciate myth not as falsehood, but as a vital carrier of cultural memory and ethical guidance. In this way, the treasure hunt is also a journey through collective imagination and the stories that sustain communities. Sacrifice emerges repeatedly as a poignant motif, underscoring the costs inherent in the pursuit of truth and justice. Characters face losses that test their resolve and shape their growth, reminding us that courage often demands difficult choices and personal hardship. The film neither glorifies nor diminishes sacrifice. Instead, it presents it as a complex, deeply human act that forges character and legacy alike. These moments add emotional weight and moral complexity, grounding the grand adventure in intimate experience. Identity, personal, familial, cultural, is explored through the protagonist's evolving relationship with his heritage and companions. His struggle to reconcile the past's expectations with his own desires mirrors universal human conflicts of self-definition and belonging. The film suggests that identity is not a fixed essence but a negotiated and evolving process, shaped by memory, narrative, and choice. Characters embody diverse facets of this theme, from those who cling rigidly to tradition to others who seek transformation. Symbolism permeates every layer of the film, enriching narrative and theme alike. The map is a central symbol, an artifact that embodies guidance, mystery, and the promise of discovery. Its layered clues invite interpretation, reflecting the complexity of history itself, which must be decoded and understood through context and perspective. The sword is another potent emblem, representing justice, courage, and transformation. Forged through trial and imbued with ancestral significance, it is not simply a weapon, but an extension of the protagonist's moral agency and growth. Light and shadow function as recurring motifs that visually underscore the film's thematic tensions. Warm, golden light bathes scenes of hope, revelation, and connection, while deep shadows envelop moments of danger, secrecy, and moral ambiguity. This chiaroscuro mirrors the narrative's exploration of truth and deception, clarity and obscurity, inviting viewers to contemplate the nuanced nature of reality. Natural elements, fire, water, earth, and air, are woven symbolically throughout the film. Fire, central to forging and ritual, symbolizes both destruction and renewal, marking key transformative moments. Water represents cleansing, passage, and emotional catharsis, appearing in scenes of reckoning and rebirth. Earth grounds characters in heritage and continuity, while wind and storms evoke upheaval and unseen forces shaping fate. These elemental motifs connect the human experience to broader cycles and rhythms, situating the story within a cosmic context. Ritual and ceremony anchor the narrative within cultural memory and tradition. Scenes of communal gatherings, ancestral homage, and secret rites highlight the role of collective practices in sustaining identity and values. These rituals are depicted with reverence and complexity, affirming the power of shared history and belief in shaping community. Color palettes are carefully chosen to enhance thematic resonance. Earthy browns, greens, and ochres convey rootedness and continuity, while vibrant reds and golds mark moments of passion, revelation, and power. Shifts in color reflect character development and narrative turns, visually narrating internal and external change. Spatial symbolism enriches the story's emotional and intellectual landscape. Thresholds, doorways, bridges, underground passages serve as metaphors for transitions, decisions, and journeys between states of knowledge, identity, and power. These liminal spaces invite reflection on the fluidity of boundaries and the transformative potential of crossing them. The film's musical score complements its symbolic and thematic richness, weaving traditional instruments with cinematic orchestration to evoke heritage and emotion. Recurring motifs associated with characters and themes evolve alongside narrative progression, reinforcing cohesion and deepening impact. Interpersonal relationships embody themes of trust, betrayal, loyalty, and reconciliation. Bonds forged in adversity illustrate resilience and hope, while fractures expose the fragility and complexity of human connection. These dynamics reflect the film's commitment to portraying history and identity as inherently relational. Ultimately, the film's themes and symbolism coalesce into a meditation on the human quest for meaning amid the flux of history and memory. It challenges viewers to consider not only what treasures lie hidden in the past, but how those treasures, values, stories, memories, live within us and guide our journey forward. Through its rich tapestry of motifs and ideas, the film resonates as both a timeless myth and a deeply personal exploration, a testament to storytelling's power to illuminate the human condition and connect us across generations. It invites us not simply to watch, but to listen, reflect, and carry forward the stories that shape who we are. Throughout, the film's success at the box office and its enduring popularity underscore its ability to connect deeply with audiences, blending entertainment with thoughtful exploration. Its place within cultural conversations about storytelling, heritage, and representation marks it as a work both of its time and timeless. As we draw this reflection to a close, I invite you to carry with you the insights and emotions this film stirred. Let its themes inspire you to question, explore, and cherish the stories you inherit and the ones you choose to tell. May its symbols remind you that treasures are not merely gold or jewels, but the values and memories that shape our shared humanity. If this exploration has sparked your curiosity and deepened your appreciation for cinema's layered possibilities, I warmly encourage you to subscribe and join our community of thoughtful film lovers. Here, we venture beyond the surface to uncover the hidden meanings, cultural contexts, and artistic achievements that enrich our viewing experience. Together, we'll continue to journey through films that challenge, inspire, and move us. Thank you for sharing this voyage into a story that is both adventure and meditation, a celebration of history and imagination, and a testament to the enduring power of storytelling. Until our next exploration, keep watching closely, thinking deeply, and feeling freely, because every film invites us not just to see but to understand and connect.